Ryan Neiman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority.
7:07 on WMAL. Happy Monday to you. Brian Neiman, Mary Catherine Ham here in D.C. Brian Wilson's down in Florida. Big primary tomorrow. He's going to track down Newt Gingrich a little bit later this morning.
Yeah, he's over in Pensacola, which is about 90 miles from where I am right now. So I'm going to drive over, catch up with him. And there's a Tea Party Express event happening later today in the Panama City area, and they're out there supporting Gingrich.
Yeah, word on the street is that even though there have been a lot of ads for Romney and anti-Newt ads on radio TV, that the support, at least when he actually shows up and does town hall events and gives speeches,
that's true.
The enthusiasm is pretty strong for Newt Gingrich. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Of course, you got it covered here on WMAL. Joe DiGenova, our legal expert, joins us now. Joe, we were just talking last hour about the Occupy movement, and today's a big day because at noon the Park Service is going to at least start forcing them to end the camping that has been going on. They're going to enforce the camping regulations. However, we're also hearing that they're going to allow them to keep the tents. So exactly how they're going to enforce the camping regulations but allow them to keep the tents is a little bit unclear. Do you have any idea of what's going to happen today?
No, I don't. And it's what the administration and the city and the park police and the Park Service have done is really legally disgraceful. They have allowed camping in violation of U.S. law because they agree with the content of speech of the demonstrators. That is unconstitutional. What they have done is they've literally allowed the law to be broken because they agree with the demonstrators. If anyone else were doing the same thing who did not have these views, they would be arrested and removed and the tents would be taken down. What has occurred here has created a legal monstrosity for the future because the Park Service now is going to have to extend equal protection to other demonstrators and is now going to have to give them a, quote, reasonable period of time to violate the law and then enforce it. This is unbelievable. This is bad lawyering by the White House counsel's office, the Justice Department, and the Interior Department solicitor. This is mind-boggling that this has been allowed to happen.
Well, if they're moving on it today, doesn't this seem a little half-arsed? I mean, if they're going to kick them out, why sort of prolong it in this way? Because
they agree with the speech. This is all about politics. That idiot from the Park Service who testified last week on Capitol Hill, that was some of the most inane testimony I have ever seen before a congressional committee. First he says that they weren't in violation of the regs. Then he ultimately admitted that the demonstrators were in violation. What you are witnessing is one of the worst decisions legally made by a federal agency. This is serious business. What happens the next time let's suppose that the people who were demonstrating for life, you remember those tens of thousands of people uncovered by the mainstream media except for an occasional story. Suppose they all decided, well, you know what, we're a little tired from this long march. We're going to pitch some tents and we're going to stay here for about a week, maybe 10 days. Do you think that this administration would allow them to do that? In the past, the answer would be no. Now the answer is they're going to have to be given a reasonable period of time to camp on the mall.
Joe, I want to ask you about the recess appointments to the NLRB and that consumer agency. Yep. It seems like that thing is heating up a bit.
Yes. Actually, Senator Grassley, who is, as you know, a Republican senator from Iowa, took to the floor the other day and just lambasted Virginia Seitz, who was the Assistant Attorney General for Legal Counsel, who wrote an after-the-fact opinion saying that what the president did was legal, making these recess appointments, even though the Senate was not in recess. Grassley literally ripped her to shreds on the floor. This was really quite an attack, calling her a, quote, lackey of the administration, and basically saying don't ever send her name up for a judgeship, which is, of course, is what most people, the next job they get when they're legal counsel is they go to a district court or a court of appeals. The Washington Post went ballistic over his statement and said it was out of line, shouldn't have been done. And then on top of that, on Sunday in the New York Times, their lead editorial was that because of all the problems with recess appointments and judicial nominations, the Senate filibuster must be ended. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you want to see a Donnybrook? Let's see if Harry Reid has the cojones to end the filibuster rule. This will be an election year treat.
Were you surprised, Joe, that the president mentioned the Cordray appointment in the State of the Union, or is that his way of sort of giving sort of cover to it, or legitimacy?
The president likes to use the State of the Union to insult people. You will recall when he insulted the Supreme Court by criticizing Citizens United, the case that allowed for these new PACs. The president has a streak of arrogance that is monumental. He threw that in the face of the Senate. The Senate, of course, was in the chamber for a joint session for the State of the Union. The president, Mr. Hope and Change, is a very confrontational street guy. That was a direct insult to the Senate, and it was done purposely. And by the way, the president's going to lose in court.
The Attorney General Eric Holder has agreed to appear before another reform committee, the Government Reform Committee, later this week, and answer more questions about Fast and Furious. There's some question about whether or not he knew the gun that was used to kill the border agent was actually a part of this program. What do you think is going to come out of this anymore? Obviously, he doesn't want to testify, but he's going to be forced to do that. What do you expect to come out of this hearing?
Well, I think the Attorney General is going to have to really get down on this and really provide very definitive answers. Enough time has now passed for him to get the record straight and to lay it out cold. As far as the rest of the people involved, there's going to be a spectacle of two assistant United States attorneys from the Phoenix U.S. Attorney's Office taking the Fifth Amendment because they are probably under investigation by the department for lying to the department, at least that's the allegation, about information that was passed to the department about Fast and Furious. This is a no good place for the administration to be. They originally thought they could palm this off, call it politics and that. The problem with it is that it has metastasized into a corollary criminal case against two federal prosecutors, and now there's no way out of it for them. I think the AG really has put himself in a very, very difficult position here. They didn't have the story right away. They started giving out answers that were not accurate. They sent a letter to the Hill that was not accurate, and that was apparently all based on lies presented to them by people in the Phoenix U.S. Attorney's Office, which, of course, has a reputation for being a very bad U.S. Attorney's Office.
All right, Joe. Good to talk to you as always. We appreciate